We are digging deeper into something Tristan Bailey's father said on Friday after the teen who murdered his 13-year-old daughter was sentenced. During the news conference where he was thanking all of the people who have supported him and his family, Forrest started with a warning to parents about the dangers of social media and technology, explaining that the teen who stabbed his daughter didn't even have her contact information until the day before he killed her. He also mentioned how dumbfounded he was to hear the amount of kids who sneak out of their homes. A local psychologist, Dr. Tracy Packiam, is joining us now live via Zoom this morning. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
What is the best way to start the conversation with our teens about first social media and technology?
It's such an important question. And I think as a parent, before you even begin that conversation, is to identify some warning signs. We know from recent research that when teenagers engage in more than 3 hours per day on social media, it is more likely to be linked to mental health concerns like depression. So as a parent, be mindful, use devices like a time check or screen time limit, and begin to identify if your child is spending more time than usual on social media. Also recognize that during the teenage years, this is the identity formation stage in your child. So be open, be conversational, and be cooperative. Allow them space to express what they're feeling when it comes to social media, rather than trying to tell them what to do. Teenagers are especially vulnerable to social media pressures because they are forming their sense of self. And as a parent, it's important to be aware of that and maybe even provide them with a simple tool. How does that make you feel when you're on social media? And oftentimes teenagers report when they're using multiple platforms, they actually report feeling more depressed, more anxious, and it has a more negative impact on their everyday life. So as a parent, teach them the tools to identify, to have insight into the impact social media is having on their mental health.
And I just want to make it clear also to our viewing audience here that we're not suggesting by any way, shape, or form that Tristan Bailey did anything wrong, by the way. This struck me when I was listening to her father. It struck me as a parent, not a journalist, and the warnings that he was giving to other parents as well. And one of those is also about kids who sneak out of their homes. I mean, how do you create an atmosphere at home, Tracy, that prevents kids from essentially lying to their parents? I mean, is that possible?
It's such a challenging thing. As a parent, I recognize the challenge as well. And again, it's important to help the child identify their own sense of agency, to be able to learn how to make good decisions rather than telling them what good decisions to make, especially in the teenage years where they're testing their own boundaries, maybe even set up hypothetical situations. And oftentimes having a conversation in a safe or relaxed environment is more helpful. So take your teenager out for ice cream, take them for, a beach walk, an activity that they enjoy doing together with you. And that's a really safe and comfortable time to say, hey, what would you do if this happened? And allow them that space to explore options. And then for you to let them know some of the negative consequences and help guide them into how they can use their agency, their locus of control, to make healthy decisions for themselves.
Mr. Bailey also said that the kids should be taught that their phone, it's a privilege, not a right. So your advice to parents who may be wrestling with the fact that you have to remember that you're a parent first to your teens, and you can't worry so much about being their friend.
That is an interesting perspective. And I think for teenagers, especially now with the way phones connect us really to the world, it is their social connection in the same way that we need to talk to people. Social media is the way that they communicate. And it's important to recognize that and help them develop healthy ways of connecting. And so, again, research shows, my own included, that there is a very powerful difference between passive use of social media and active use of social media. So active meaning you're actually engaging, you're not just mindlessly scrolling for hours, but you take time to connect with someone that offers you, maybe a kind of goal that helps you be more motivated to achieve something. And so again, as a parent, recognizing how to help your child make those positive decisions for themselves.
The judge, as he passed down the sentence on Friday, mentioned that he'd received 150 letters from members of the community, many of them parents, describing how this brutal attack in St. Johns County made their own children just afraid to sleep alone, afraid to go out of the home. What advice do you have to parents in talking to their children about these kinds of terrible things that happen in our community so that our kids aren't growing up living in complete fear?
It's such a sensitive topic, and yet something that as parents, unfortunately, we have to address as well. I think the age of the child here is especially relevant. If your child is very young, you may want to provide a safe environment, letting them know how you as a parent provide that protective buffer for them. If the child is older and able to have the conversation, helping them recognize, again, that sense of agency. First of all, recognizing and acknowledging their fear rather than trying to diminish it and say, oh, don't worry, that won't happen to you. That diminishes their sense of emotion. And so allow them to express their feelings, but also ask them to think about what they can do to act. What is one thing they can do that is in their control to help protect themselves? Can they have your number in speech dial? Is there someone they can call if they feel unsafe? And providing them with those resources lets them know that they aren't helpless in a situation, but they are means in which they can put into place to protect themselves.
Local psychologist Dr. Tracy Packiam joining us this morning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.